is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 269. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him E, sitting here on a Monday, beautiful Austin, Texas, looking ahead to the 2026 MLS season. Austin FC defeated 4-1 at the hands of the dreaded LAFC. How you feeling, my friend?
Well, if you're watching on the YouTube, you can see my name here. I'm Sad E.
Yeah.
Definitely sad, man. Emotional for sure. Feel pretty defeated. Rightfully so. Emotional and sad for the guys for sure. And I know that this is not how they wanted to go out. But again, I'm going to come back to, I thought this was a successful season. You made it to a cup championship. That didn't go your way. You were a top 6 seed in a difficult Western Conference. And I think you played the best team in the Western Conference. And, credit to LA. The better team won last night. The better team won the series. We knew that LAFC was better than us. You were going to have to play a perfect game in this matchup and then get lucky on top of it to beat this team. Like that, Son is one of the best players in the world, man. Like he's literally one of the best players in the fucking world. This team is absolutely loaded top to bottom. They're a good team, so I congratulate them. I salute them for sure. To pull off this upset in this 3-game series, you had to get that first game because that was the game where you had the recipe a little bit. LAFC was not firing on all cylinders, and that was partially due to how we played them and partially, them not playing their best game in that matchup. But the balls didn't really bounce your way in that game. A couple calls didn't go your way in that game. And ultimately, like I said, the better team ended up winning this series. So I feel terrible for a lot of these dudes, man. I know that we saw some guys crying. I went to the bathroom, shed a couple tears, came back out.
After guy, finally.
So yeah, man, it's emotional. It sucks. But that's sports, and only one team is going to get to call themselves the MLS 2025 champions, and it's not us. But that doesn't mean this was a failure of a year, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, like we've said that already, coming out of the Open Cup final, and we'll have plenty of discussion later in this episode. Obviously, we're getting into the off season here, so we will have all of the wide view, deep dive discussions on all kinds of things. Probably no, Thanksgiving mixer or whatever we did last year for that 1 week. But we shift into off season mode. So just programming note to those of you who either don't recall or are new listeners to the North End Podcast this season. In the off season, we go to just one episode per week. So those will be released on Sundays going forward until we are back in action 110 days from now. Austin FC will kick off the 2026 season. So look, man, I think it's none of us wanted to exit the playoffs last night, right? All of us wanted a miraculous MLS Cup winning run. But now we get a little bit of time to take a breather, right? And kind of assess where this club is at going forward. So we will do that over the coming weeks and months, and the off-season activities will ramp up here in just a few weeks. Because again, like this, being knocked out in November is also the second longest our season has ever gone. I think with the COVID scheduling, technically we went later in the calendar in 2021 just for the regular season, but I think you pick up what I'm putting down. We'll jump into this recap here. Before we do, just want to remind you all listening or watching on the YouTube channel that you can support the show financially by downloading the audio versions of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts. You can toggle on auto downloads. That'll support the show financially, and you won't have to think about it again. Get those auto downloaded to Apple Pods, Spotify, wherever you're getting those podcasts. You can also go the extra mile if you want to rate and review the show. That helps us grow the pod, as does subscribing to the channel if you're watching on YouTube. You can also hit the notification bell. That'll alert you when a new episode pops up or a live stream goes live. And of course, and look, live streams coming up. This live stream season here in the off season. And of course, here on episode 269, hit the thumbs up, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords by atoning for your sins and washing yourselves clean in the waters of the North End. And look, man, maybe we can get our number 10 to do that here in the off season. Let's talk about the very important and to me, very surprising news that Osman Boukari was held out with injury last night. And this is it made me want to go back. I didn't yet, but it made me want to go back to listen to what Nico said after the match on Wednesday, to go back and watch that tackle and how Buka was moving, because we got the media availability with Coach on Friday. And he said that Book did not practice on Friday, but like, I don't know, man, you and me know, like, you look at almost any sport, you get into a playoff series and anybody that's of that type of importance to your team's success, if they're banged up at all, you probably don't practice them, right? Maybe get a little bike work in, a little recovery session, whatever. But I wasn't surprised about that. And then he comes out listed questionable on the injury report. So that took, I think I told you yesterday, I was still 75% sure that Book was going to get out there and give it a go. And then the lineup comes out and he is out of the team. And that's where it just, I think I said, we had some other good buddies here with us in town at the game, which again was a blast and fitting with the theme that everything but the game was great last night. But we took 2 cars down, and I told our 2 buddies that were in the car with me, it feels more like once Book was out, I was like, well, this feels like a funeral now.
Yeah, I think I just said to someone, oh, well, we're fucked. You're cooked here. Like, that was. And like to feel that way before this game, right? Like it's a playoff match. We've been juiced up to get to the queue for this playoff game. And it's been such a long time since we've had a playoff soccer game here in Austin. And to get that news beforehand, it's just like, fuck, man. Yeah. Like, come on, and like in the article, I talked about the recipe and everything and how we found a little bit of a way to play this team tough. And albeit those were regular season matchups, but like when you have a guy like Boukari go down and you already struggle mightily to score goals, we've seen what this team looks like when he doesn't play, man. We are usually incredibly toothless. And that was the case last night for sure. He's not our best player. He's our most dynamic player, in my opinion. He is the player that can beat a one-on-one assignment most consistently. And when you're just trying to snatch ideas of ways to score goals versus this team, that kind of was our best idea. Like we knew we were going to be defensive. I was just saying, I want to see a more aggressive Buka, not an entire offensively minded aggressive team. I just wanted to see one guy be ultra aggressive when he got his chances and opportunities, because we had to try to find any way to score on this back line, which is very formidable. They made changes last night that fucking nobody saw coming and were great moves. But I did say that Nico should expect Cherundolo to do something a little different from what we've seen in the past year versus this LAFC team. And they did, man. And again, they won. But like, they're the better team. But like, again, we talked about it before we jumped on here. No BV, man. There's one DP down. No Buka, there's your second DP down. Now you're relying on just Myrto out there as your lone DP player versus probably the best 1-2 duo DPs in the league in Son and
yeah, Duanga. I mean, and okay, if you're behind anybody, it's fucking Messi and X. Right?
Yes, exactly. Because it's just
your guy from Miami.
Yes, exactly. So like you're battling that, and it's just an uphill battle to begin with, and now you've just greased this hill, and you're trying to run up it, and it's a tall task.
It was Robert Taylor getting his first start, right? Wild. In an Austin FC uniform on the right there for Osman.
What did you think?
What else do you do?
I get that for sure. But still, is this not somewhat baffling? That like
the whole, it has, but it's just a continuation.
Yes.
Of the confusion.
And it's just like, boom, now Robert Taylor starting the most important game
and
of the
playing
season.
only on the right now over the last month.
Yeah, and again, what are you going to do? And talking about those injuries and guys we were without, no Rubio. That has been overlooked a lot, but it hurt in this matchup. It really fucking did.
Well, and dude, the changes that I think you mentioned a moment ago that LAFC was able to make, not only were those, I think, very, very, I mean, I think they were match-winning moves by Cherundolo. Not that they needed to make those changes to win that game, but I think it definitely gave them a boost because you get Ordaz in there, right, for Chouanier. And that just pushed them further up the field, gave them 3 true attacking players. And then, but I think it's even more important that you get Jailson in there for Nkosi Tafari. So, okay, you can just sit Nkosi down, and Jailson can play center back, apparently, which makes some sense because I think he's like 6'6", 6'1".
They're massive.
But having that distribution and this is a guy, I think, if I recall correctly, the last place he played was in La Liga, I think.
And Celta Vigo, right?
Yeah, yes. And he's just like, he's not a world beater, but at this level and being able to make that type of change, again, it just shows the depth that LAFC has. And that is, they have the roster build and the club profile that I think everybody should be striving for. I still hold them and Philly, because like Philly, we were wavering on that take a little bit to end last year, and they boom, supporter shield this year.
Yep.
By cycling out some of their best players, bringing in some new ones, new coach, and you just see the structure. And those are two very different approaches.
Yeah,
between those two clubs. Sure. And now we're starting to get into more off-season type of talk. But again, you saw the depth, the quality of LAFC on display last night before the first whistle with this lineup coming out. And then also, man, I will shout out. I think it was a sellout, a true sellout. Because of Son's presence.
Yep.
There were so many South Korean fans there.
Yep.
I thought it was cool, man. Like, this is like, I think I was talking to Aaron. I was like, the best comp that I can come up with is like, if we went and we were living abroad somewhere, and then all of a sudden LeBron came and played in the local top basketball, like we're in Portugal or something, and LeBron comes over. So it was an interesting dynamic in the crowd, because for how many fans were there cheering on Son, there was not these huge roars of applause when LAFC scored. When Son scored, there was. But the other ones, it was very tepid. And so it wasn't a ton of LAFC fans, a lot of Sun fans. And then I also thought that on the rewatch especially, like, I was impressed with the turnout for a game that we were, again, giant underdogs at home on a school night, on Halloween weekend. UT game yesterday in town. Our crowd was great, man. Even down 3-0.
Yeah.
I mean, just blowing me away on the rewatch this morning with that audio coming through the Apple TV broadcast, man. I thought the fans brought it, even when, I don't know, man, right? Like I've said before, like I'm not an even louder when you're down guy typically. If we're down 3, I'm usually pouting. That was not the prevailing sentiment in the stands, even though, especially in the South End, right? And so I will shout out all the fans who continued to be rowdy and raucous and cheer on the team, even when it was, for all intents and purposes, over about 45 minutes in.
Yeah, I agree, and we're going to get into the recap here and everything, but around 45 minutes in, it definitely felt like, I think I turned to you and was just like, we're about to get steamrolled.
Well, yeah, because 44th minute, third goal.
Yeah.
Like, they've been slicing through us for 20 minutes. Anyways, during the anthem, man, I don't know if you saw, did you see the smoke box on fire in the South End?
Yeah, you pointed that out.
Feels so appropriate, not just for what happened or like what felt then what was going to happen last night, but just like kind of life in general right now. Yeah, it's just during the anthem, shit's on fire in the fucking South End.
I was much more concerned with just how incredibly massive they looked compared to our team. And I was talking to our buddy Jesse Porter earlier, and he was like, did you see those guys lined up during the national anthem? And I was like, I did, man. And no Book, I was not feeling good. So
and look, Profe, this is why I'm team tall soccer players, man. The teams that come in there with the bigger guys usually dominate us. You got to have a couple small guys out there, right?
For sure.
Right? But we need bigger guys still.
Absolutely.
So we'll jump ahead here to the 14th minute, because the first 20 minutes, I think at the 20th minute, I turned to all you guys and was like, this is playing out as about as perfectly as it can for us, where I think it was 2 shots for Austin, none for LAFC through the first 20 minutes. Here in the 14th minute, this is where we get the first shot, and it wasn't very threatening, but Austin wins a throw on the west sideline down there in the north end, and Galley winds up the long throw, and that gets nodded towards the top of the box by Porteous, where Denny Buanga tries to corral the loose ball, and Svatak shoulders him off of it about 18 yards out, and now Svatak's got the ball at the top of the box, and he kind of panics and just sends a wayward shot up into 124, and you can see on the replay, Alexander gives a little bit of a wry smile there, kind of a wave to his teammates like, yeah, sorry.
Look, man, I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
again, we needed something to potentially just go our way here. A fucking inner deflection off the thigh of Cecilio Pompeu style of goal, to get yourself on the board. And then you can really walk it down.
A Brendan Heinzike own goal.
Exactly.
A Denny Buanga deflection tapped in by Ordaz. Right?
Exactly.
The luck that we've been looking for in this series. It wasn't there last night either. 3 minutes later, fantastic touch by Danny to spring Myrto into some space on the run. I thought Danny probably, like, the pen he converts later notwithstanding, like, I thought he had a great game.
Mm-hmm.
Myrto then slides it out to Robert Taylor on the right side. And Taylor plays just a straight up poor ball here, easily won by the LAFC defense that's getting back in transition. And you can see the frustration from Danny, from Myrto on that ball with Taylor. Because again, we're only going to get a handful of these type of chances running at an LAFC back line that was higher than they typically were throughout the night. Just seconds later, though, Danny able to win the ball, this time off Son, who flops. And Danny then takes one touch, plays another great through ball here to Myrto, who now has a step on Jailson. And Myrto takes one touch, fires a left-footed shot from 18 yards out, zoomed right over us in 123. And again, like that, but dude, that play in a vacuum is not terrible, but it's just stacked on top of a full season of those type of plays for Uzuni. And we can talk about Myrto in depth here in a few minutes, but disappointing to not be able to put that one on frame.
Come on, man. You have to here. You have to. You know what I mean? I know we're down 2 DPs. We got him there. You play. This is the ball that we needed to try to get a goal of them out of position. I thought he had an extra touch here. I think he's got enough room on Jailson to get away a little bit, a little closer to the net and make this a better attempt. But like, he's better than that. He is, and I know that might not be a prevailing sentiment right now, given what took place last night, but like he is definitely better than that attempt was. And that was a bummer because like you said, man, this is arguably, you're still right here. You're floating around this game after what we had saw for the 90 minutes in game 1. This was a continuation of that where it's like, we were still corralling them, but it still felt like it was just coming like at some point. And it does.
Well, in the 19th minute, LA gets a cross in left from the left side, rather, off the foot of Buanga, and it skips off the grass between Stuver and Ordaz, who's crashing the net, and Brad was able to parry that away. And that is when I turned around to you guys and was like, this is going great so far. Like, because of the lack of chances for both sides, we wanted that stalemate in the field of play and not to be living down in our defensive third. And as I'm saying that, Taylor cross into the LAFC penalty area, that gets headed away by Jailson. And it bounces to Mikel Dessler about 10, 12 yards above the area. And as Mikel turns centrally, he's 100% fouled from behind by Denny Buanga going through his back. And Dickerson waves at him to get up. And I know as they're going on this break, you and I are standing up screaming in the north end that that's a foul, because that is a foul. Everywhere.
Yep.
And no call. So now this springs the 2-man counterattack from fucking hell. And Buanga plays it ahead to Son. He's got Ilie out on an island, and Son dekes him towards the end line and rips a shot inside that far post to open the scoring. And I'm pretty upset that was not brought back on review for a foul. We've seen that happen to us in the past, where we score and they review that there was a foul when we stole the ball. And they brought it back. Why was that not called? And again, just like the Open Cup game, right? It was an MLS game where Houston flopped in our penalty area, right? And they overturned the call where the official was fucking standing right there. Dickerson is standing right there. But we've seen VAR not be shy about calling the guy over who's standing right there and saying, you got this wrong. And I think they did in this sense. And again, like, does it change the outcome of the game?
No.
I don't know. Probably not. But it changes it in that moment because the goal that they score there opens the whole thing up.
Oh, yeah.
It opens the floodgates. And if you call that back, you still have a chance when you give up one. But like it changed the game. And I felt a little bit I don't know. I guess angry. I guess I'm trying to dig through the noggin thesaurus there, but like it didn't feel right, man. Just given how I've seen plays like that officiated. First of all, Joe, call the fucking foul. And then come on, man, VAR, you can see that. Goes right through his back. It's a foul every day of the week. And I was going to say twice on Sundays, but I guess it's not on Sundays.
Yeah, dude. I'm not looking for a card here. Again, this was a hard playoff foul. And keyword there being foul. You know what I mean? I do think Dessler's got to get this ball off of his foot a little bit quicker. I'm not really sure what he's doing in this moment, kind of floating around in the middle of the pitch. For what it's worth, I don't think he had a very good game last night. Not that many people did, but like for normal Dessler performances, I don't think he was on top of his game last night when we really needed him to be. But that could also just be a product of the fact that you're not able to work that 1-2 game with Buka. And, he can't play off Robert Taylor as well as he can with Buka because Taylor's not drawing the same amount of attention that Buka does. But I digress. It's a foul. And then, I say a prayer for Ilya when he's got sun bearing down on him. And like
for anybody to be fair.
do your best here, bud. It's because like this guy's lethal, man. It was good to see him in person. I will say that he's a fucking hell of a player.
Yeah, and I want to hate him so bad, and I can't.
Yeah,
he's like one of the most likable stars that I've ever seen in this.
Yeah, he really is.
And 3 minutes later on the broadcast, Max Bretos brought up, I thought, a wild stat that LAFC and Austin FC were tied for the best counterattacking defense in the league. They each allowed just one counterattacking goal in the regular season. So naturally, in the next 10 seconds, Heinzike plays a poor pass out to John Gallagher. Sergei Palencia steps in, takes it off him, and he sends Son out into space down the right. And here Brad Stuver rushes out to try to get it, but Son beats him to it. It was kind of in that no man's land. It does take a deflection, though, as those guys come together, just a slight one. So Son doesn't have a clean look at the goal, but he whips it right to left to Denny Buanga, who settles it. He peeks up. BHI is in the net. Stuver's rushing back, but he's not going to get there. So Buanga just kind of calmly slots it home. 2-0. And now Austin have given up 2 counterattacking goals in 4 fucking minutes after giving up just 1 in 3,060 minutes this season. And that, my friends, is the power of this LAFC team on the counterattack. And I'm going to say it more later, but you should not hang your head losing to this team. You shouldn't. No. Not with what we had out there this season and especially last night.
Absolutely. Look, man, I'm not calling for you to hurt anyone or anything like that. But if you're Brad here, you have to foul this man.
Yeah.
You have to take him out. Yeah, it has to be, you know what I mean? And like, you'll take a card there, whatever. You can't be like, okay, I'm going to run back from, I don't know how far out from the 18 he was, but it was a
30, 35 yards.
It was more than he ran all season long.
Brad, we don't need to put Brad through the combine and make him run the 40. I think we got a good 5+.
You have to take him out here. I don't care how you do it. And then again, I'm screaming, foul him. Let us reset because Danny is now in there that after Brad, whiffs on this takeout. Just take him out, dude. Just please foul him so we can set up our defense. Yeah. But nope. And then that's when it was just like, I think that's when I might have turned to you or something and just been like, oh, we're about to get fucking ran out of this building right now. Yeah. And that pass was from BHI. I thought it was from Ilya.
I think it was BHI because he kept making those incursions into the attacking half and trying
God, he was bad last night.
At least at that point, or in those moments.
I thought it was Ilya, but okay, yeah. Either way, man, and yeah, there's nothing you can do.
It's a bad pass either way. I don't care.
Yeah, whoever fucking passed it was a shit ball.
34th minute here. BHI does pick up a yellow for a tackle on Sun near midfield to slow a potential counter. Slid in, clipped his ankle from behind. 37th minute. Owen is fouled by Ryan Porteous to win a free kick just above the left side of the 18 down there in the north end. And so Owen lines up over it, whips it into the near side of the scrum there, and Myrto dips his head down, nods it up into the outstretched hand of Denny Bouanga, and Dickerson takes a beat, assesses what he just saw, and calls for the penalty. Absolutely. That is a handball. Mm-hmm. There's no confusion on that one. But Myrto steps up to take it, and I forgot about this until watching the rewatch. It's not an excuse, but it is what happened. Dickerson makes him reset this ball twice, and I don't know why. It looks like it's on the spot from what I could see on the replay, and could certainly look like it when we were watching it live. But then Myrto Uzuni takes maybe the worst penalty I've ever seen in person. At least from one of our guys, that is for sure. Some of those RSL PKs in 2022 were not very good, but I have never, in the 5 years that we've been going to Q2 to watch this team, I have never held my head in my hands, covering my eyes like I did for as long as I did after he kicked this ball. Because in that moment, and I try not to be that reactionary, especially with an individual player. Mm-hmm. One play usually doesn't make or break my opinion of somebody. It just further informs how we assess it. To me, he's gone.
Yeah.
You're gone now. You cannot miss. You cannot shoot a worse penalty than you did to miss in the Open Cup final just a month ago, man. In the two biggest games of our season, you shit the bed. And again, like we were saying earlier, that is stacked on top a season full of disappointments for Myrto. So, like, again, we'll have longer discussions about this and what we think Rodolfo Borrell and his staff should do with the roster this offseason. I am 100% in the camp that if you can move Myrto to another team, again, back to Europe probably, and recoup, I don't know, fucking half of what you spent on him. It's just, I think it's better for both sides, because what is he going to do coming in here next year? The first time he misses, all of us are going to throw our hands up. Here we go again. Mm-hmm. It's just, it just didn't work. And that's okay if you recognize the mistake and you fix it going forward.
Yeah. You know.
And I'm talking from a roster build standpoint, not Myrto can't. I mean, he's going to play somewhere next year. I just don't think it should be here, man. I don't think it should be here.
Yeah, and like I can attest to your usual level-headedness about this stuff of not one play defining, how you view a player and everything like that. But you turned right to me and said he's gone, like it's over. And then when you take into account how it looked when he and BV were healthy, and the fact that he was just an afterthought. With BV leading the team in goals, and Myrto just we're soccer novices essentially trying to figure out how we would try to get him involved, but he just he was uncomfortable there to start. I think maybe he lost a little bit of trust in the coaching staff because of that. And then you have the BV injury, you slot him to his much more natural position, the position that he has played in the past, clearly feels more comfortable with. And you see a bit of an upturn with him. He wasn't setting the world on fire. And the bar was incredibly low for him to improve. And he did score some important big goals for us this year. And, but man, it just always kind of looked like something was going on upstairs with him. And, you didn't help your case coming in guns blazing with the record thing, man. You just really didn't. Because you're just setting yourself up to fail if you don't do something that we've never seen before, and it's not like, we're, the most rabid fan base for sure. But if you're back next year, man, you're going to have to play exceptional because yes, that low hanging fruit is going to be plucked as soon as you do something wrong. And I don't know if he's gone. I don't know what you could recoup for him, but it's clear that the fit was not good with BV. And for, the last remaining DP we had in this matchup last night, our biggest game backs up against the wall, for this to be the attempt you take, man, this is a mental thing. I could have saved that.
Dude, that's so it's and Nico said something of the something similar in the post game. It was like he's scared.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not the vibe that he gives off ever.
No, it's not.
Until the last 2 months.
No.
Or month, really. Just last month.
There's no way to describe this PK attempt other than he was flat out scared and didn't want to take it.
Yeah. And it's like, again, from the wide view, not all of the Myrto Uzuni related failures this year are his fault. Because again, the roster build is not perfect and far from it. And it is a very important transfer window coming up this winter for Rodolfo Borrell, and an important season coming up for the franchise as a whole to continue the direction, the new bar that you have set this season. But yeah, man, it was that was one of the more deflating moments that I've had as a fan, because as you guys know, listening to this podcast every week, twice a week, some of you guys, tuning in, sticking with us. I want Myrto Uzuni to be my favorite player so fucking bad.
Yeah, you do. I know. And
I can't do it.
No, you can't. You really can't. And to move this off of Myrto a little bit here and more so to the context of the game. If you're down 2-1, man, again, you're back within. Can we get a deflection to knot this game up? And then we can bunker and we can go to PKs and try to find a way to beat this fucking juggernaut with a Herculean effort defensively to close out and corral these two superstars in this league. And to have, not just to miss it, but for that to be the attempt. And you talked about the crowd being so into it last night and vocal and juiced up. It took so much out of that stadium, man. I don't know if I've ever seen the Pirates that more sad than I did after that PK and last night. And I can't blame you.
Yeah. In the 44th minute. 44th minute. This is a heinous foul call by Joe Dickerson. Especially given what he let go leading up to the first goal. Because this leads to the third fucking goal, man. Owen commits a breathing foul on Mark Delgado.
Yep.
And Delgado goes down like he was fucking shot. And even Max Bretos, who is kind of Mr. LAFC.
Yeah.
Right? I'm pretty sure Bretos was their local announcer before the Apple TV deal. Even he goes, there's not a ton in that, chuckling. So, okay, bad call. And on the restart, ball goes from right to left to Hollingshead. He finds Denny Buanga, loops around Svatok, drops Heinzike on his fucking ass, buries the third goal past Stuver. And this game is over, man. And again, what was LAFC going to win anyways? Probably, right? Mm-hmm. Probably. But the inconsistency is incredible here to not, and I understand maybe in the moment not calling the first foul before the first goal on Buanga going through Dessler's back because of the dangerous set piece it gives us, potentially game-changing foul call there. But then when it leads to a goal on the other end from your no call, that needs to be reviewed because we've seen that happen before. And here, your inconsistency gives them the set piece opportunity to whip it to Hollingshead, get Denny Buanga not isolated, but he might as well have fucking been. And again, am I putting too much into that? Maybe. But it doesn't help my mood on the rewatch today to see that the inconsistency in the officiating between the 18s played a factor in the scoreline of this game. Not necessarily the outcome, but that the scoreline hurt my feelings. So I'm going to say it, Joe.
This is not a foul. Again, I'm going to reiterate everything you said. The consistency factor of this, man. We needed this game to be physical because we had to muck it up as much as possible. So I was for a physical game. And if you're going to let us play, I think that kind of favors us. You know what I mean? Going back to that first non-call. Okay. If that's how we're calling this game, let's call it like that. And we're going to see Son on his butt several times, last night, if that's how we're going to play it. So let's do it. But then to have this, man, and the way that Porteous has been fouling Owen Wolf for 3 games now, dating back to the first regular season game where he also gave Owen an earful. Yeah. And now for Owen to get called for this ticky-tackiness, come on, brother. What are we talking about?
was 3-0, 5 minutes of stoppage given. And Austin in possession here in the second minute of stoppage time, where Mikael Dessler lofts across towards the back post from the right, where Guilherme Biru is up there. He goes up to challenge for this ball with Porteous, and Guilherme goes down. And once Austin gets the ball back, about 30 seconds later, Biru's still down, so play is stopped, and VAR calls Dickerson over to look at it at the monitor, and we see it in the stands on Uncle Dave's phone, pulled up the stream there. Definitely the right call. Porteous reaches back with his arm, kind of catches Guilherme in the head with an elbow. And so a second penalty is given. Another stat that Max Bretos reads off on the fucking broadcast is that Austin was given the fewest penalty kicks this season. Now we've got 2.5. This time Danny Pereira takes the pen. And look, man, Hugo Lloris still gets a paw to this one, but it goes in because he fucking shot it.
Because he wanted to score.
Shoot the ball, man.
Yeah, he was not afraid of missing. He was trying to score.
And so it's 3-1 going into the half. And that goal, man, keeps the stands from starting to empty at the break.
Yeah, absolutely. And, still, I did not think we were going to pull this off, given the scoreline, knowing what was coming out of the locker rooms in the second half as well. But, you can't let Myrto shoot this way. You can't. There would have, for his own safety at this point. You know what I mean? If you missed that second one, dude, there's issues, And good on Danny, man, not being afraid of the moment. And am I still crazy for thinking that Owen Wolf should be taking these?
Nah, I don't think so.
We saw it. I forget. He hit the clincher versus San Jose. And it was a fucking shot. Yeah. It was a real ass shot. So I don't know why that's not in play. Maybe it is. I don't know. But I sent you a screenshot this morning, right? And obviously still raw, emotional about it. And there's Myrto standing at the top of the 18, hands on hips when there's contact made, which allows the players to cross into the 18. Yeah. And every single offensive player, and some defensive guys, because BHI is running full sprint at fucking Hugo Lloris. I think it was Svatok and maybe Dessler. Yeah. The two guys who you have to have back in case this is saved and they're just going to launch one. Yeah. Are the only guys who aren't running. And then there's Myrto, hands on hips, just watching. And, I might have read too much into it, but I think what you said to me after I sent that to you was just he was not there mentally anymore. It was over. He had completely lost it. And again, maybe you just bring CJ Fodry in and say, fuck it. And let's see if we can do this thing. But if you're down 2 DPs already and your third one has completely checked out of the game mentally, man, you're not going to beat a lot of teams in the Western Conference, much less the team that I think is the best of the Western Conference.
Well, coming out of the half, we do say fuck it and throw CJ on, in addition to Jean Kolmanich and Julio Cascante in for Taylor, Gallagher, and Svatok. And man, just to finish up on what you were talking about, I thought that was a good find by you. And again, maybe I'm giving him too much credit there because it could absolutely be the way he's standing there. I cannot say you're wrong if you make the case that he's pissed that he didn't get another shot at taking a pen.
That's that is how I was interpreting it.
Yeah,
that he wasn't.
I think that's fair. I just don't. I'm just not. I don't know. I'm saying so much. I'm going to say so many bad things about the guy today and the next couple weeks until we get some sort of resolution, whether he's staying or going. But which again might not happen till fucking January. But yeah, I mean, whatever happens, man, it just was not. That's his worst game of the season.
Absolutely. It would be hard to find a game in his career if you went back and watched everything that he's ever played that looked as bad as last night. And the other thing, man, and after that, screenshot I took of that particular moment, plenty of guys are going up and congratulating Danny and you're happy for him. Are we down 3-1 still? Yes.
Yeah. But got to get one first.
You got to score once, and this is a playoff game. It's do or die, man. Regardless of what the score is, after the next 45 minutes, this shit it's over. You got to fucking go here. So I do think he was a little bit salty about it, and I think that's insane because, bro, after what it looked like on the first one, dude, and like you said, it was a challenge to make that PK look worse than the other one you had in the Open Cup Championship.
Yeah.
Because that one was shit too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this one was atrociously bad.
Yeah. What do you think about the subs? Like I like them.
Yeah.
Because like what else are you gonna do? And it's 3 offensive minded players coming on.
Yep. And I mean, like we had that debate about the starting lineup, and you were pro Big Tex, and I was pro Big Ireland.
The Ireland lobby.
And for the reason of, I think Johnny is a better defender than Komanich is right now, but Komanich is superior on the offensive side of the ball by far.
And that's not close right now, right?
Exactly. If you're trying to generate chances, that is not a discussion. So I'm all for bringing in Big Tex there. CJ, yeah, man. Can you capture lightning in a bottle again with him? And potentially, maybe. So I didn't mind the subs at all, and I credit Nico and the staff for at least trying something.
So we get a yellow card to Tillman for taking out BHI before he could run into the acres of space he had in front of him just over midfield in the 53rd minute. 10 minutes later, a yellow card to Ilie for pulling Sun back near midfield. I thought the Ilie yellow was much softer than the other yellows, but again, maybe I'm just, at this point of the rewatch, I'm just pissed off at Joe Dickerson. 67th minute, you get the final 2 subs for Austin, which is, of course, the earliest we've seen all of our 5 subs made, and it makes sense in the do or die scenario. Obrian and Sabovic come in for Dessler and Ilie, and then you get a triple change on the other side. Tafari, Morin, and Smolyakov in for Ordaz, Jailson, and Palencia. 69th minute here. Austin playing it out of the back. Things get a little hairy down there in the north end. Danny's getting pressured by a couple LAFC guys, but look, they work out of it. And all of a sudden, Danny meets a loose ball in the middle of the Austin defensive third. He one-times it forward out to the left, 30 yards ahead into the path of Jean Kolmanich. And Austin instantly has numbers going forward. And Jean drives forward with Myrto central, CJ and Obrian streaking down the right to catch up to the play. And Jean puts a cross in just above the 18. It bounces a little bit behind Myrto, but he's able to turn around, reach out, and deflect it to Obrian. I think he was trying to turn it into his own path, but it ends up falling right into the path of Obi, who's wide open, man. And he puts it right into Lloris's gloves, and it just kind of double stamps his disappointing season. You can't score, man. You can't score.
Jesus. No, you haven't.
And that's a goal, man. That's a goal. And if you score there with 20 minutes plus stoppage left, all of the pressure, all of it is on LAFC.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm looking at the 2 rosters, right? Imagine if that was David Martinez, who didn't even play.
Right. Yeah.
They don't even get in the game.
A couple sprints in after the game.
God, and it's been the story of this team all year long, and it's not just Obi having these moments where the class players in this league bury these type of attempts and push their teams towards victory, and us not finding a way to score. They're finding ways not to score essentially at this point. But like, I do want to jump back because I think it got lost a little bit. We did lose our fucking minds after giving up the first goal.
Yeah. Like, defensively.
Pretty much the entire defensive unit just was like, all right, I'm Johan Romagna now. And like, I have to make something. We lost our minds defensively. And that's a discipline thing, man, because I know you're up against a Goliath here, and we are David in this situation, trying to find a way. But like, good Lord, we know it's coming from B-Room no matter what. But like BHI making solo mission runs, Fata consistently out of position, Dessler looking lost. We lost our discipline after that first goal. And if you're going to get into an up and down game with this team, you're going to lose 100 times out of 100.
I mean, how similar is that Obrian chance to the goal that DeAndre Yedlin banged past Stuver in RSL a month and a half ago? Like, I don't imagine that DeAndre Yedlin has too many more goals than Hadar Obrian in his career than Hadar Obrian had last year, right? And like, a guy like that can just step up with his one chance that he gets probably every 3 fucking months to score a goal and takes advantage. And Obi the whole season. And I know, like you said, like it is a team-wide finishing issue this season. it's easy to pick on Hot Air because of how far he dropped off from last
Mhm.
season to this season with his counting stats. And like, I'm not trying to shit on the guy. It's just, dude, you disappointed, as a
Yeah.
lot of guys did, but over the full season.
Yeah.
And so 2 minutes later, man, Austin again, like on the front foot, wins a free kick in the LAFC half after Morin is shown yellow for a late tackle on Danny. So Jean lines up over this, whips it in. He finds the head of Julio, and Cascante does nod it on target, but Lloris blocks it, spills the rebound. And CJ follows up the rebound, bangs it home, but the flag goes up for offside, and it's reviewed, and the call on the field stands, and you look at the replay, and I think the call was correct, and just disappointing because I did take the 2.5, 3 seconds to celebrate before looking at the linesman. And for those 2.5 seconds, man, I was like, here we go.
Yeah. I think I punched the shit out of my chair, slapped it, or did something. My hand does feel a little weird today.
Okay. This is leading to an excuse for why you couldn't win in darts last night.
No, I couldn't win a darts because I couldn't see the board. That's why I couldn't win at darts.
Okay.
It had nothing to do with my hands. That was seeing. I could not see straight.
All right.
That's true.
Go ahead.
He's offside, and again, with luck you would have needed to pull off this miraculous upset, just didn't go your way. And you can't bank, on luck to win these types of contests, but it was required to get the job done.
5 minutes later in the 76, Austin still has Los Angeles pinned back, and the ball squirts out of kind of a mess of players near the top of the 18, and it goes out to the left where Kolmanic is able to run onto it and one-time a ball towards the green jerseys that are congregating at that far post. And Guilherme and CJ jump and meet it at the same time, and Biru sends it up and over. And I think if there's, again, I don't think that there's communication that you can have there that gives one of those guys a clean look at it, because I think they're both those guys are gonna go for it right there. But it was unfortunate that one of them couldn't get a clean touch because they both rose up over the scrum and had a chance to nod that one home. So it's like 3 very good chances in 8 minutes here. These guys did not go quietly, even though they didn't make noise on the scoreboard.
Yep, I was going to say that. Again, unfortunate, but I will say that we did fight till the end. You lost to a better team, period.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be some big giant fucking thing, like this, that, the team you played was vastly superior to you. That's usually how these things work.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you got to go in a fucking 3-game series, man.
Yeah, and good Lord, wouldn't it have been fucking nice to have a week off when our DP gets his ankle rolled up on game 1, so he could have fucking played. Meanwhile, we got teams with 10 days fucking rest getting their game 2s in. Ridiculous.
Yellow card to Kolmanic for just screaming in the face of the linesman down there near us in the 77th minute. So he got his money's worth on that caution. In the 80th, Chouanier comes in for Bouanga. And then in the 81st minute, you get a yellow card to Owen for a foul on Delgado. I think that's fine. But 30 seconds later, Segura high boot on CJ. Is that not a red? He kicked him in the nose. The outside of his nose is bleeding.
Yeah.
And I know CJ puts his head down a little bit. But this is a high boot, man. And like, I don't know. Again, maybe this is just my inexperience watching a ton of soccer in my life. To not, like, maybe this isn't her. I just thought, man, if you kick somebody in the fucking face like that, don't you get sent off? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it would have mattered much at this point, but.
Sure, but I mean, you get fucking 15 minutes of them down a man. Again, you would continue to pile on the pressure, which Austin was not able to keep up over the last 10 minutes. And then, again, the fucking victory cigar in the 88th minute comes in. Jeremy Abobasi in for Son. And in the 3rd minute of stoppage, a wayward Austin pass starts a 2-on-1 break for Delgado and the dreaded Abobasi. With Danny in between him, and Delgado's able to draw Danny a step towards him, plays it across to Abobasi. Danny sprints towards Abobasi. He takes a touch around Danny, buries it past Stuver. 4-1, final whistle blows.
Yep. And looking at the stats, right, the XG 2.47, 2.41. Obviously, you get the 2 PKs and everything, but like 18 shots to 8 in favor of LAFC. And, after the first goal, they got to play the way that they really wanted to play this game, and was to get up and down, make us come out of our form and our shape, and we played into their hands, man. And again, you lost to a better team. I don't think you can't be too down about this if you're a player. I know Uzuni's fucking hurting for sure today, but the better team won, man. I still think they're the best team in the Western Conference. Give me Sun versus anyone that they have in the West every time.
Yeah. 52% possession for Austin at the end of this one. As E said a moment ago, 18 shots to 8 for LAFC, 5 shots on target for LAFC. Was it 2 for Austin? 3 shots on target for Austin last night. I believe 5-2 was the game 1 shots on target numbers. 3 big chances last night for Austin, 2 missed. LAFC on the other side, 5 big chances, just 1 missed. Each team got 2 corner kicks, 2.41 XG for Austin on FotMob's model to 2.47 for LA. Expected goals on target 1.98 for Austin, 2.48 for LAFC. And again, our numbers are juiced because you got the 2 PKs, but you should have scored the 2 PKs, right? Yeah. And that also would have, similar to that Nashville final where more gripes about the officiating for sure in the Open Cup final, but you have some officiating inconsistency. You still have your chances, which you aren't able to take. And if you did take those chances, the game certainly could have had a different outcome. So again, I think the majority of the blame for the loss, I'm not putting this on the officials, this or that. It's just you ran into this buzzsaw of an LAFC team. And I think like the game scripts to me, winding back to before game 1 on Wednesday night, these game scripts were basically switched from how I thought this series was going to play out. I did legitimately think that we were going to get the game 2 at home and push it to a game 3 and then probably go down there. But to play the much better, to put out the much better performance in the road in game 1 and then get completely blitzed at home was the reverse of how I saw this one playing out.
And I'm not sure if I talked about it on the pod beforehand, before this game 2 matchup here or anything, but I know that I expressed it to you where I was just like, I'm really worried about this game because I'm just worried about these guys eventually just hitting their stride and being too good for nearly 90% of the teams in this league to compete with, much less a banged up Austin FC team that are down 2 DPs and missing an important attacking piece in Diego Rubio. And like, I think that's what happened. Again, you like you said, you should have made both PKs and this game could have felt a little different. This would have been much more pressure on LAFC because as this game, could have wound down and everything, it's like, the pressure was on them to win because they're the huge favorites in this matchup. I had the stats up on FotMob and I just like quick looked at the highlights again and Jesus Christ, that Obrian shot.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's got to be, has to be a goal.
And then that pass from Myrto that starts that break to get the Abobasi goal. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah.
So, again, a successful season for this team, man. I want that to be the prevailing sentiment here for me, is that this was a successful year. This was a huge turnaround from where this club was, from what we had to do, tearing this down to the bare bones to rebuild a roster that was absolutely disgustingly designed by Claudio Reyna, and getting to this point here where we, made the playoffs. You were in a cup championship. It didn't go your way. I think in both matchups, you lost to teams that were better than you. And I'm proud of the way that this team fought all season long. We found a lot of different ways to eke out points in scenarios that, we weren't favorites in the matchups. You lose BV. That's a huge loss. He was leading our team in goals. To have the comeback versus El Paso after an absolutely disgraceful performance in that first half, to propel yourself past San Jose and these other teams, to beat Minnesota on the road in the Open Cup, to get to that championship game that we got to see in person at home. It was a successful year, man. Are we in the conversation with your LAFCs, with your Miamis, with your Phillies, with your Vancouver? Hell no. We are not close. Like we said, this was the best mid team of the mid teams.
Sure, in the West. Yeah.
And I think that rings true. And as much success as you have had versus this LAFC team in the regular season the last 2 years, they swapped out Olivier Giroud for Son. Like, they brought in one of the best players in the world. I said it on the last pod. Like, this is one of the 100 best teams in the fucking world that we played, and they won. They should have won. If I could see people who were expecting an Austin FC sweep in this series or something, did you say it beforehand?
Right.
Like, there's just no way, man.
And that's like, I don't know how much of what I want to say is, I think, very similar to what you've said here, but like, of course, right? We have in any fan base, it appears that there is, even after some innocuous regular season loss where it's like fire the coach, fire the GM, cut this player, trade this guy, sell that guy. So I guess I understand how a lot of people immediately start saying the coach isn't good enough, the roster build isn't good enough, so we're going to fire the GM here. And of course, like I've been sitting here today saying I think Myrto Uzuni should be moved on. And of course, we'll have deep dives into this roster build, the future trajectory, all that stuff in the offseason. But I'm hoping that some of those takes that I saw last night of, we need to fire the coach, we need to fire the sporting director, this and that. I hope that those who are able, have the ability to think critically, are able to take a step back here after getting some sleep and realize the situation that Austin FC was in down the stretch here.
Yeah.
Right? Because what's our order of how we would rank our attacking options in terms of how important they are to our success? I think Brandon's number one. Brandon Vasquez was not only leading the team in goals scored. Again, was he on pace to be in the Golden Boot race? No, we expect more out of him than we got. But I think that goal scoring was a team-wide issue, not a BV issue, not a mere, right? That was everybody. But so him, Buka, if you want to make an argument that Owen Wolf is up there in the top two, I'm not going to shut you down. Myrto's in there somewhere. Then you've got Rubio, CJ, Obi, Taylor in some order behind them. If you take away, I think, are we in agreement, you and I at least? BV 1, Buka 2. Well, who else would you play?
Oh, I'm saying I might have Buka 1.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Personally.
Okay, so they're 1, 2 in some order for us.
Yes.
And then Rubio, we know the importance of him, not just for the little bit of chance creation that we got from him when he was playing kind of as that second forward or as that pseudo 10 this year, but like everything he brings to the intangibles of the game, the dark magic, right?
Yep.
So we can even leave Diego Rubio out, but don't forget that was a factor here too. If you take any of the 28 other teams in this league and you take away their top 2 attacking players, have them play LAFC in a 3-game series and see what happens.
Yeah, good luck.
So there's probably a lot of 2-0 sweeps in there.
Absolutely.
And so,
more than there wouldn't be.
So if you are still here today or whenever you're listening to this on some sort of the coach needs to go, the GM needs to go, this or that, I just don't think you are treating the reality fairly here with what we were up against. Because no Rubio too, again, that is a factor that is important for our team. Like I can have a conversation about, is the roster build where it needs to be? I think we can probably all agree no, because we all want this team to win trophies, not just make a final. Again, this year was a stepping stone. But I just feel like, I don't know, man, if we are going there, you are advocating to me for a step back from what this group has been building over the last 8 months. We saw improvement. So you want to pull the rug out from under them now because you lost to who you and I think are the best team in this conference? And fuck, man, that might be the best team in the league.
Yeah.
we're going to see over the next couple weeks. So, like, I feel like you're wasting your energy if you're going to go on some coach or sporting director needs to be fired crusade.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the roster build is totally shit. It's not, man. Has it been an A+ on every signing? Fucking no. But I think, again, as we go through some of these reviews and looking ahead to who's locked in, who's got options and such, I think we're going to uncover that you have a winning record signing players under this current sporting director and his crew.
Yeah.
Again, we'll look at all of that going forward. And I guess the other things I'll say this weekend, right? We're going back to 1 episode a week. We will dive into our first look at the upcoming off season, and we will review this season just to kind of go through that. We like to do 8 or 10 minutes, just like, remember when this happened? Oh shit, this had, going back through the timeline here. Look, I thought it was a non-zero chance that we may have gotten option decisions announced today.
Yeah.
That did not happen as of this recording, but I do think we will have roster option decisions here before our next episode. So I think we will be recapping those, and we will also be recapping our preseason nonsense, dude. The over-unders. I think there's going to be one of us might win 3-2 on those 10 over-unders and the team points draft. So we'll recap all that nonsense too. Anything else? Again, I'm with you. The season is a success based on, as it always has been here in the North End, the bigger picture, right? And this is the second most successful season in the club's 5-year history, hands down an improvement on the previous 2 years where we missed the playoffs, and it sets a new bar. If we get to this point of the year next season and we are not in the playoffs, we didn't see any tangible improvements during the regular season, any sort of external competitions that we're in, then you can get me on board with making those big time moves at the top.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Not right now, man. Let's keep this thing rolling. Let's recharge, right? Revamp the roster, get guys healthy. I don't think we have an answer on Book.
Yeah.
The fucking training camp is like 8 weeks away, dude. Was that a serious injury or not? I fucking hope not.
God, I just don't see any way you could look at what happened this season and be like, we got to get rid of Nico. Like,
yeah,
did he not earn some sort of?
If you say that, right, it's not good enough offensively, or it's boring visually. I agree with you. Those are things that we can improve on. More so the first thing. Yeah. I care a lot less about whether it looks pretty or not. I want trophies. I want to win. I want to be up in the top, back to where we were 3 years ago. And for that to not be a flash in the pan and to be challenging for that every year. And this year was a step towards that goal, that type of sustained success, sustained winning. So again, I think we're getting into the point here where we're just going to talk ourselves in circles, trying to, being emotional at the end of the season. So go, what do you got?
Can we keep our mouth shut and then just do the job? Can we not say names you wouldn't believe? And can we not just say those things and just say I'm going to break records? And let's just not say those things. And then we move forward with that. But yeah, man, I'm with you, to the people, who showed up all the time and cheering this team on and dealt with the inept offense at times and the ugly style of plays. I salute you because, this took years off my life for sure. But I was happy to be there with the folks in the weeds and everything. So.
Yeah, another great season in the stands, I think, right? So shout out to everybody, all of our friends here in the Austin FC community, the North End community. And I will shout out the guy who came up to me after the game in the section who said he was a listener to the podcast. If I had to guess what your name was, I would say Josh. I'm pretty sure that's wrong, so I apologize for not. Look, buddy caught me as I was getting emotional, tearing up, watching Julio take it all in. Because if one guy's getting his option declined and not returning, you can fucking tell by his body language after that game. I appreciate everything Julio did for the club. We'll do a full Julio thank you, right, whenever that option decision comes in. But again, apologize for not remembering the name there, though, but very much appreciate the love and coming up and introducing yourself. I said it at the time. I said, man, you caught me. I'm here tearing up over Julio.
Yeah, you needed the old steel trap there to remember the name.
There you go.
It's not your fault.
Anything else for you on this game, man?
Nah, man.
Whoa. The best keeper in the world.
Oh,
to put the cherry on top of the shit sandwich of results from the last 5 days, Damian Lawson, Louisville City for the second year in a row, regular season champions, winning the Players' Shield in USL and getting bounced at home by an underdog. Detroit City FC scores in the 34th minute. Louisville City outshot the visitors 19-3, but Detroit converts on their one big chance that they had. Scoring in the 34th minute, Louisville cannot put one past the Detroit keeper, and so Louisville and Damian bow out again of the USL playoffs in the round of 16. This is the first home loss for Louisville in a competitive match since they lost in the playoffs last season. How about that?
Holy smokes. Prayers to Trevor, man.
Shit, man. It's a rough weekend.
Might need to check in on you, brother, because it was a rough weekend for you.
Oh, man. So, Damian will be back here in Austin, officially an Austin FC player again. And we'll see I've had my Damian takes and opinions here about what we should do with him next year. We'll talk about that. Again, we will be back this weekend. Season review, off-season preview, option decisions, the nonsense. Anything else for you, E, before we shut it down?
Nah.
All right, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in, sticking with us here on episode 269 of the North End Podcast. We are back on Sunday, reviewing the season, previewing the offseason, all that stuff I have already told you all in this episode 3 times. Try to enjoy your week, everybody. Still going to be beautiful weather here in Austin, Texas. We will do the same, and we will see you back here on Sunday for another episode. Until then, he's Sad E, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.